All right, are we live? Yep. Okay, everything's working. All right. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I seem to got everything correct starting out for this research and ramblings. Let's see if I can pull it off for Magical Coffee Hour on Sunday. All right. Welcome, Merrick, Peachy, Alex, Mathis is here, and Sean D. Hello, good to see you. And Mathis, it's good to hear that you got your T-shirt order from the merch store straightened out. Thanks for letting me know about that. Welcome, TC. Yeah, well, we can go ahead and go over it actually, since it's kind of the big bright red dot. So, this week's weekly challenge is actually to change something that is your comfort zone and really kind of go out of it and try and break an old comfort habit just to grow as a person. So, for me, you all know that my comfort zone is definitely my black shirts all the time. That's what I wear, it's what I'm comfortable in. I know that color. Hey, Fairy Tale Forever. So I'm also looking into actually getting more, I guess you'd say, clothes that are actually more appropriate for coastal weather because, well, that seems to be where we're going to get stuck most of the time. So I need to look outside my normal box. So I actually went with red because it is a color that I'll say I'm quasi comfortable with in small amounts. I usually use it as an accent color. But this shirt actually does function as a warmer weather shirt. So, but red's not something I would normally wear as just a shirt. I usually have to have a jacket or something because I'm a bigger guy. I feel like I look like a giant red blimp. So, I gave it a shot. And I actually have to say, I kind of like it. Yeah, I usually roll the sleeves up. I just didn't because it's been raining all day outside. So, hey, Ella from good to see you. So that's one reason I do enjoy having long sleeve shirts is I can actually, kind of move in and out depending on how the weather is around here. Welcome, Serpent's Descendancy. So, yeah, the weekly challenge for this week is to find something that is your comfort zone and for 1 week try and push outside of that comfort zone. Hello, Halloween. You made it. Well, I'm honored that you could wake up for me. I find it hard to wake up for work, much less a stream. Now, for all those who messaged me this week for last week's weekly challenge, I know that was a rough one, but for everyone who did it or even tried it, congratulations. I did not get one message from anyone who had a bad experience with it. In fact, everyone really did find out that their unplugged time was actually quite beneficial. Well, we didn't like you missing them either, Mathis. We like having you here with us. When we get past the current times and people start working again, anyone on night shift, they're going to be missed. And yes, for those who message me after streams, you can buy these at the merch shop. Just go to workingdragonmystic.com and there's a little button there. So, but no. Oh, before I forget, last week, Cast Iron and Chaos said he was going to send me something. Check this out, people. That is actually a gift that he sent to me, and it actually belonged to his mom before she passed, and he wanted to make sure it got some use and would go to somebody who would take care of it and use it. And since it looks like a cauldron, he thought of me, and he honored me by sending that to me. So I absolutely want to send a big shout out to Cast Iron and Chaos. And if y'all haven't, go check out his channel. He does a lot of recipes and stuff. And if you've wondered on how to care for cast iron, he has some videos on that too. So absolutely love it. It came today, and I was surprised it got here so quick. But definitely appreciate it, man. If you're watching this or when you see this, totally love it. I didn't expect it to actually be that big in the picture. For some reason, it looked smaller. So now I got to decide if I want to use it like in a ritual room or if I want to put that in my kitchen, because I'm thinking that'd make me a mighty fine stew pot. Either way, it will be cared for and used. So shout out to him. Be sure to check out his channel. So now this week, my research has been what some people might consider a little more on the boring side. But for me, it's been absolutely fascinating. I've always had this curiosity between the goddess Frigg and the goddess Freya. There were so many similarities between them, I never could quite figure it out. And then there's the similarities between Odin and Freya's husband, Ud or Ord. So this week I started deep diving on that because, was it Sunday night or Monday? I stumbled across there's a video on YouTube done by a Norse scholar. I want to say it was Jackson Crawford. But he actually ran through the myths, actually comparing the myths and the linguistic translations and how the language moved through the centuries. That he ended up putting me back to something I was thinking about years ago, and that's that these two goddesses may very well be the same goddess. And he starts comparing every one of them, which once this video processes, I'll make sure to link the video of his so you all can watch it, because he can explain this stuff a lot better than me. But he actually does, actually show the lore of why these two would be the same. And he even points out that we actually only see them in the same place one time, and it's after Christianity shows up, which the entire theory is that Frigg is actually the transition of Freya to the more Christianized belief. And that's the reason they share practically every aspect, except one is more of a warrior goddess and one is more of a homemaker. So that's really where I've been deep diving this week, and I've been taking notes and everything. And the only thing I didn't get to this week that I really wanted to was to actually do some evocation work and go straight to the source, as it were. But I wanted to make sure I had all my notes and research before I did that. And I do plan to actually do a full video on this particular topic, just because I personally find this freaking fascinating. And when Mr. Crawford pointed out that he'd eat his hat if you could convince him that Odin and Ood was not the same deity, I'll admit I laughed, because I've been thinking that for years. The comparisons are just too strong. So there's that. Of course, I did my unplugged. I did my 8 hours unplugged, which I actually spent it with doing some ritual work and a little bit of cooking outside on the smoker. So trying to work out some of the logistics for doing one of our kitchen witch videos on the smoker. So I think we have it figured out. I think we're good to go. So next time I fire up the smoker, hopefully I can film a kitchen witch video. Oh, Serpent, thank you, man. That's pretty cool. That is cool. Thank you very much for the compliment. I'll be honest, half the time I don't know what I'm doing. I get an idea, I turn on a camera, and I hope it comes out looking okay. But then again, that seems to be why so many people like me, is because they say I'm authentic. And when you just turn on the camera and just talk like if someone was sitting there, I guess that's what you get. Hey, Mystic Shade, good to see you. Hey, Cast Iron and Chaos, there you are. Yeah, actually, I started the stream by showing off the pot that I got in the mail. Here it is again. Thank you, man. This thing is freaking awesome. It really is. I absolutely love it. You got me there. You really do. And honestly, that's probably the best cauldron I could ask for, hands down. Seriously. That is freaking awesome. The closest thing I got in comparison to that, well, outside a Dutch oven that I have, that we'll just say a friend of mine used it, and I need to re-season it now. There's like this little tiny itty bitty, I mean, it's about the size of a golf ball, witch's cauldron that someone gave me that they got at a cult shop sometime. So that is freaking awesome. I love it, man. Thank you very much. So y'all heard how my week was outside. I did actually get to smoke some pork shoulders, which, oh, you have no idea how glad I am to be able to go to the store and actually get the food to eat the way I want to eat. And I'm not as limited anymore. So loving that. Serpent, man, I have worked with Samael a little bit because I did start a Clifothic path working at the beginning of the year. through evocation, and I did work through the Cliff-Off just the spheres last year, but it was just focusing on the different spheres itself. So last year, I only seen him a time or two in passing. And him and Lilith both put the brakes on that particular path working, told me to focus more on dragon magic and some other things I need to get done and come back this fall. So I'm not 100% sure, but what little bit I've worked with him, he seems a very determined, very direct individual, would be a good way to put it. And from when I was talking to him, he does seem very much about tearing down bad habits and old ways and breaking the monotony so that you can, clearing out things so that you have room to grow. Which is one reason, what is it? I can't think of the word, how it's pronounced, but essentially it ends up translating into poison of God. Because, that sounds horrible. It sounds absolutely horrible. But the term and the meaning comes into, getting rid of and killing off the things that are no longer serving you and they're actually holding you back, weighing you down. Think of clearing the underbrush from a forest. Well, you know what? That's actually probably not a bad way to put it, because I didn't get to work with him enough. He ever, got the trash cans out and banging them or the whistle on me. But personality-wise, when I think of every drill sergeant, Navy, Marine, and Army that I've ever met, yeah, kind of has that same air of authority and aura about him. Really does. Now that you mention that. And now I don't know if I'm looking forward to fall or not. Cast Iron Chaos, you are right. I honestly do not go to New Age shops very much. I tend to fall back on more practical things. So most of my stuff comes from the dollar store, Walmart, Amazon. Whoa, sounds like you all had a time with your dad's place. Yeah, Mathis, that's been an issue. There's a few of them I've seen popping up now that actually do cater to both sides of the fence. They're still few and far between. So they're still hard to find. Oh, no problem, Serpent. I wish I had more info to give you, but I've always said if I don't know it, I'm not going to make it up because I don't want to lead you astray or anything. Though I am really looking forward to working with him and getting to know him better. Because he does seem like a real interesting entity. And he seems like a no nonsense kind of guy, which I appreciate that. See, I'm not the only one here that's doing this stuff, that's going to the Dollar Tree and dollar store and stuff. Yes. In fact, I will have to show them to you one time. My wife found a set of chalices at Goodwill for $3. And it is a sterling silver communion set. It's got the tray and the two chalices and everything. And she only paid like $3 for them. It's amazing. No need to apologize, Lauren. Food's important, especially in the South. Can't miss dinner. The person who actually saw these said it was sterling. It's not plated. It's just someone pawned it off to get rid of it. And since the case it came in was slightly crushed and broken, yeah, they didn't price it for what they could have got it for. They could have sold it for more. But I'm not about to correct them when I'm the one saving the money. So, I mean, I've told y'all before, honestly, I'm a cheapskate. So, or frugal, I think is the term most people like. Sounds better. Uh, Serpent, I'm going to have to say no on that one because not only is the house where I'm at warded pretty heavily, there's actually wards that my wife put up, and I have no idea what they are. So I have no way to neutralize them. And yeah, she's pretty protective of me, would be an easy way to say it. And she's not a very compassionate person when it comes to retaliation. I love her to death though. But yeah, I could not guarantee safety on that particular thing. Hey, Lauren, that's actually a great. I know a lot of people who do that, so it can pull double duty. I mean, that's a great option for a lot of people. It really is. Um, I actually have a small offering bowl that, again, the wife at a thrift store found like two or three of them. I think she only paid $5, and they're wooden bowls, really nice looking bowls, about like that big around, yay deep. So I mean, get creative, people. I see so many people. They're trying to figure out what to do when you're stuck at home. We'll call it stuck at home. Um, and I keep telling them, work on your magic, work on your craft, work on your practice. And I've had so many people's like, I'm new, I don't have the tools I need. And I can't believe it's so hard to get them to understand you need no tools. You need none of them. And this is a great opportunity to work on one's craft that's a lot of people's missing out on it just because they think they need those tools. And then when they do get the opportunity to get tools, they think they have to be really expensive and fancy. I know one kid was actually trying to figure out where he could buy an old copper dagger. It's like, what? Why? What? No. Yep, and there you go, Lauren. I mean, when in doubt, you got research. Oh, Mystic, I don't blame her. I adore her. In fact, that's one of the things I love about her. Um, I don't have to worry about her. She's more than capable of taking care of herself. She's my little ball of chaotic psycho, and I love her. Ooh, well, I hadn't planned on it, but um, well, the primary difference between wards and what most people would normally refer to as shields is wards traditionally are placed on a stationary, permanent structure of some kind. Therefore, a house, property, those kinds of things. And they differ slightly from protection spells on the property because they're usually attached to some object or objects or even carved directly into or placed into an item on the property or something. And their energy is actually tied to an energy source that's external of them, so you don't have to continually recharge them. So they're actually self-maintaining. So they are a little different than spells and what most people would think of as shields. Now, that said, I have seen people who's managed to get a ward on something permanent and mobile, like a vehicle, though those are a bit harder to do, but it is possible. I don't want to assume my goddess and guardian, soon to be. Well, yeah, I mean, it's always great to not assume, but it's possible. And that's actually pretty wise not to assume there and try to be open to that. I'm actually wanting to do a video on Tiamat in the next couple months if I can. I've been getting so many questions on her. And she is such a fascinating dragon / goddess because she is worshipped as a goddess in many, many places. So I actually am wanting to do a video on her. But Serpent, I am one of the classes that I'm wanting to do for like the live stream classes where I can actually sell seats to it and get people in. One of them is going to be on wards, so I can go in depth and detailed and actually walk people through it. And I'm also wanting to do an introduction to wards video. I'm just trying to figure out how to condense the information, make it functional in either 1 to 2 videos. Because if I make a YouTube video over 30 minutes, people, they click off, they go away, and it's not really worth the time to put it in. So I am considering doing videos where I'm trying to teach something in a series. So it might take 2 or 3 videos. And I'm just working out the logistics of that particular information line to see which would be the better way. Because you also need a good point to break in the video, because you can't just be like, okay, we're halfway done. See you next video. Because that's annoying. At least to me, it always is. So you need that good separation point. The things you have to worry about when you record YouTube. Yeah, I'm wanting to try and do her justice. I'm actually going to be working directly with her when I make the video. So I'm going to make sure she approves of it. And Lauren, I have worked with a few of the Greek goddesses. I did work a little with Artemis. Um, Not a whole lot. I did enjoy my time with her. Her and I seem to both enjoy the woods, and we both have a enjoyment of archery, though she tends to make me look pathetic. Um, but I did enjoy it. Now, that said, Hades is probably the Greek god I worked the most with. Um, I spent a good year or two working with him through shadow work and different underworld research and stuff like that. And then at one point, he's the one that's like, okay, I'm done. You're going to go talk to hell now. And he's actually the first one that sent me to speak with the Norse goddess Hel and learn from her. Um, I have had to work with Aphrodite quite a bit. Let's see. It seems like there's another one. Oh, yeah. Dionysus. I've had to work with Dionysus. Yep. I actually had to go in and bless a winery, and they wanted a traditional Dionysus style blessing done. So I actually had to get to know him, work with him a little bit before I went up there and done that. Yeah, Elfram, that's what I'm planning to do. And honestly, to do a beginner's ward video, it does seem like I need to either do 2 to 3 parts. And I'm just scripting it out and figuring out where the good breaks would be so that it'll flow nicely. I know I try not to be a perfectionist because I know I can never get it to where I'm going to watch the video and be like, okay, I like it. That's never going to happen. But I do want to have a nice flow to it at the very least, if that makes some sense. Mystic, you aren't kidding. Most people, you mentioned Tiamat, they think D&D. And my generation, we even think the old D&D cartoon. Lauren, this is something that gets me in a lot of trouble with people. But every person who's tried it ends up coming back surprised how well it works. Approach them like you would anyone else. Give them basic respect and get to know them. Actually work to get to know them and build a relationship with them like you would a friend. And if I remember correct, you're in the South, so you should be pretty good at socializing. Actually ask them about their day, ask them how they're doing. Don't make it, a lot of people make their relationship with deity almost one-sided. But when you approach them with that viewpoint of friend and ally and mutual respect, you build a relationship so quick and they're so willing to help you. The connection is just so strong. And it simplifies it. Because you just treat them like another person, it just simplifies the whole process. It really does. Because I had the same problem for a long time. I did not want to work with deities. I tried to stay away from it. I worked with very generic aspects at best. And Freya is actually the first entity that I can say basically kicked in my door and didn't give me a choice. And I noticed she started working with me the same way I would work with the dragons, just that one-on-one, you know. And I've always worked with the drag, or well, not always, but I started working and got to know the dragons to where I just sit and talk to them like I'd talk to any friend. And that's when my work with the dragons just kind of escalated and went great. And that's the way she was approaching me. And I asked her point blank about it, because that's not what I mean, I grew up in the church, so I sure didn't, you know, this ain't how you approach divinity. And from everything studying the occult, this ain't how most people approach divinity either. And the way she explained it to me was deities actually like a genuine relationship. And in most people's attempt to worship, we put the deity up here on a pedestal that we can never build a genuine relationship with them. So if you approach them on that friendship level, you can have a real and genuine relationship. And I've utilized that approach for every deity and entity I've worked with since. And I honestly haven't found a place where it has not worked and has not been beneficial. Well, I'm pretty introverted myself, but there's just something about it. We know how to talk, and we know, you know, how to treat people in a respectful way to build those relationships. It's kind of funny. But even us introverted Southerners, I don't know. It seems maybe it's genetic. I don't know. I've never been able to put my finger on it. Mathis, man, you gotta do what you can do. We got a video coming out next month. I'm finally detailing the hailing rite that you all have been asking for and showing how to do it. And that is like a 5-minute ritual that you can do morning and night. Incredible ritual. Absolutely incredible. And it's my go-to. I do it every morning, every night because it's so quick. If I have time, I do meditation after it. If not, I do that and move on. So keep an eye out for that particular video, man. Yes, actually, Serpent, I do work with Loki on occasion. He's always around the house because my wife works almost predominantly with Loki. She even has a Daughter of Loki tattoo. So Loki is definitely her primary deity, and anyone who meets her and gets to know her, it's not hard to see why. Um, but yeah, he's always around the house, and he is a hoot. He really is. And I know some people's worried about working with him, which okay, things can get a little chaotic and hectic. True. But he's all about change. He really is. And it is change for the better. Though sometimes the road might be rough, you will have fun doing it. I mean, it's one of those things like if you've ever done something where you thought it was a great idea, during it, you're terrified, you think you're going to die. Afterwards, you're just cackling in laughter because, hey, you're alive, it was fun, and somehow you're better off. That's pretty much the definition of working with Loki. So anytime I've worked with him, I've enjoyed it. And he's actually one of the entities I'm wanting to do a video on soon because we do have Hel, we have Odin, we have Freya. And where my wife works with him so much and he hangs around the house, I think Loki deserves a video, and I want to get that one out soon. See, Lauren, I don't know. I don't know if it's just something about Southern culture. We learn it just because we're swimming in it, or if I don't know. Maybe it's in the air. The world may never know. Oh, man, thank you. Honestly, that's how I was raised, man. You give your word, you do everything you can to keep it, and if you can't keep it, you damn well apologize for it, and you better have a good reason for it. And sometimes a full body cast doesn't count as a good reason. So yeah, respect and honor are kind of the foundations of what I was raised on. And outside that, it's knowledge and learning is what you should always be seeking. And then, of course, the idea behind that is you take those things, you better yourself, and the better you are, the more you can reach out and help others. So I try to live what I believe, and I try to, when I advise people, I actually try to live by the very things I do give advice on. Oh, Loki is a fascinating deity. Absolutely fascinating. And Peachy, y'all know Peachy, right? She's always up in here somewhere. She's probably poking around right now. She'll jump up in a minute. She pitched me an ideal for a video series that I just loved it. She wanted me to go through the different entities I work with, do research and lore. Literally, one video, I give you the lore, I give you the facts as written of those entities. And then I do a second video where I work with them, I talk with them, and I work with personal gnosis, and I make a video on what they want people to know that's outside that lore. And I've not really seen anything like that. And that's a fascinating concept and an opportunity for these entities to, possibly add knowledge or perspectives out to the world. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that series. And since it was Peachy's ideal, she got to pick the first entity. She did pick Odin. So, but yeah, she pitched that to me. That was earlier today, and that was just an awesome ideal because I'm going to be able to research and give you facts, and then I can talk to the entity and take notes, and I can take those notes and bring them to y'all in a video and present them. And I'm sure plenty of people will disagree, but I think it's a fascinating ideal because one thing I've noticed is people seem to think deities were riding along in history while we were recording their history. And when the myths ended, when they came to a close, that was it. They're done. They got off the evolutionary train. They got off the I'm doing things train, and they've not been doing anything since. And I have never met an entity where that's really true. I mean, it's hard to believe, but Odin, Freya, Thor, they know what technology is. They know how to use it. They understand it better than me, actually. And there's a lot of times where Odin will appear wearing an actual gray suit. So even their wardrobe, they're not detached from the modern world. And so this is an opportunity to kind of bridge that. Really, really fascinating concept. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's one reason I love the Discord community we're building here. You guys can pitch ideals like that. It's freaking awesome. So yeah, we're definitely going to make that one happen. And yes, Peachy, I promise you, Odin will be first. Yeah, they really are, Serpent. They really are. People actually view the Jotun and the giants as different, actually, than the gods. But if you actually look at the terminologies and everything, they're not a different race. They're more of a different tribe, if that makes more sense. Again, more articulate individuals like Jackson Crawford does a far better job of explaining that. And it's more of that warring tribe concept that really was there, because if you look into the Poetic Eddas, many of the gods took Jotuns as brides, and Thor's mother is a Jotun. So there's a lot of misconceptions there. And that's one reason I do encourage people to read the Poetic Eddas and find a good translation, because some of the translations are really hard to understand. My favorite translation is actually by Jackson Crawford. I love his work. That's the reason I keep using the name. I know his work real well. It's also very well researched. And he even tells you where he's pulling them from. He'll tell you what myths are how old. I mean, he's really good at splitting the timeline and showing where the research is coming from. And he does his best to even show why he translates something a certain way. So you actually understand not only what it's being said now, but you actually understand the mindset that it's coming from, which is very important. So, and we do have some more Fae videos coming. I know a lot of you just loved when I put up the rules for working with the Fae. Two of the ones that are coming. One is, how do you know if the Fae's already around you? How can you identify them? That kind of stuff. So we're doing a deep dive research on that, coming up with the most common ways that you can know that. Because if I put every way, the video would never end. And we're also going to approach it with we're going to start with how to work with the Fae. Well, after when do you know if they're around? We're going to do a video on working with them indoors. Because everybody seems to think you have to go outside, you have to go out in the wilderness, you have to be out in the middle of nowhere. And you don't. You can work with them right in your own house. And I want to cover that one first. I will be doing an outdoor video, but I figure there's more immediate need for the other one first. So, as you can see, we got a lot coming. Unfortunately, we got so much coming. Clearly, it's going to take months to get to it all, because I ain't got enough videos to release, because you only got so much time in a month. I do have a little bit of a study in demonology and demonolatry, which they are slightly different. So it would depend on the question, but I do work with several different, what would be traditionally classified as demons in demonolatry or demonology. Hey, look at the bright side, people. That means I got so many ideas. Clearly, you're stuck with me on YouTube for quite some time. Although, whoever the nice individual is that compared my voice to Sam Elliott's, thank you very much. I've never thought that much of my voice, but I do have to admit that man has a nice voice. So if that's what I sound like to somebody, I'll take it. I will take that compliment in a heartbeat. I have not read any of his work. True. And the thing is, I can't even remember which one I read because it has been so long. That's the downside to reading so much. Eventually, they just start to blend together. So it's weird because I can't say yay or nay, but I can remember his work was intriguing. And now I'm going to have to go back, find what it was that I read, and reread it because now that's going to bother me. But yeah, it's his work's not one that I've come across a lot in my research, which seems to surprise me when the name pops up because it seems like when I did read his books, it intrigued me, his perspectives. So I don't know. I don't know if he just, if I haven't crossed the subjects he's writing on, or if he's just not writing as much as I think he would. But that's an author I know. I found him intriguing. But as far as would I recommend him or not, I don't have enough memory of it that I could say. That one I've not read. That one I might actually look into, man. I appreciate that. I didn't know he did a book on Jotun. I will check that one out for sure. Thanks. Yeah, because I try to read and get different perspectives. In fact, one thing I've said is I like to actually find authors that I might disagree with and read their work. Because even from a perspective I don't agree with, they can present an argument that can trigger you to think of your own ideals. And from that, you can pursue that ideal, even though it may not have much to do with their works. That's why when you see these books that are published as compendiums, I love those because, yeah, technically each author is not presented like an entire work, but each chapter or whatever that each author has published within the compendium, it's a viewpoint that you can read and kind of get an insight in and use that as inspiration for your own work. And multiple viewpoints it's a fascinating way to grow and think on a subject. So I really do love reading compendiums more than anything these days. The only downside is some of these compendiums are priced at a tag I'm not going to pay. I mean, I'm not going to pay $80 or $100 for a book. So that's not to say they're not good books, and that's not to say they might not be worth it. It's just I currently have other things to spend my money on at this point. So did you just how? Whoa! Back it up. Did I just get compared to Bob Ross, people? Okay, can you explain that to me? How am I like the Bob Ross? Because that's the painter guy, right? Or am I getting my bobs mixed up? Halloween, not one word. I know what you're thinking. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm not mixing my bobs up, that is still a cool compliment, man. I just I never would have considered it. Oh my god, I'm right. Okay, it is because he's a painter. I can't draw a stick figure. Cast iron. I will not lie. When I was younger, my hair is so curly. If I did not use like gel of strength of 20, I had a natural afro. It would just stand straight up. It was bad. So, which attracted a lot of jokes my dad wasn't too happy about, but it is all good. Oh Lord, man, don't say that. But no, that's pretty cool actually. I'll like I said, thanks for the compliment. I actually remember watching him when I was in school. They turned him on, and what knowledge of painting I have really did come from Bob Ross. And I'd be lying if I didn't tell you he's actually the inspiration for a video I've been wanting to shoot because one of my favorite forms of magic is actually magic through art. And I was wanting to show how to do energetic paintings as well as spell paintings. So that's going to work in with the wards and stuff, how you can actually turn physical artwork into your house into wards. So it's really funny that you compare me to Bob Ross on that. I don't think he was actually a serial killer. I think that's a joke. Good to see you, Judas. I am. I'm actually having a really good day. It's been a fascinating day. Which we just got some new neighbors moved in. They've been hanging stuff, so there's been some banging and whatnot. I don't know if they know I went live or what, but it's like I went live and they stopped hammering. It's kind of funny. I was a little worried you guys might have to listen to the thumping. Wouldn't that be so weird if my neighbors actually watched my streams? That would just be, ooh, that'd be weird. I don't know what I'd do. The art magic videos are coming. It's not the first time I've heard that, but frig. Now you got me wanting to look it up. And I'm not even gullible. But no, yeah, it's one of the like the urban magic series that we was doing for a while. That's one of the things I want to work into it because there's so many things and types of magic that we can do that just gets overlooked. It really does. And people really they waste creativity. They really do. I have a friend who she is an artist and most of her spells and whatnot around her house is artwork of one kind or another. And when you walk into her house, she has like full murals on her wall and as well as paintings. I mean, she's a lot better artist than I'll ever be. But yeah. So yeah, we will be getting some of those videos in, and I'm going to be working through them. I was trying to figure out how best to shoot it, and I realized I need at least a tabletop easel to shoot the painting video. So I got to get the time to run out to, I think Michael's is the nearest craft store to me. Well, Ella, you're actually right, because it's weird. Energetic paintings, I'm pretty good at. I really am. But if I was to want to sit down and draw a shape or draw a portrait, can't do it. Any circle I draw ends up looking like, well, it's no circle. Well, if they a stalker, they in for a surprise when they come a knocking. But hey, more power to them. You might be right, Elfram. I honestly, it's the art I do. I don't know. It's weird. I've never. It's not my calling. Might be the best way to put it, because there's things that will draw my attention so much quicker, and it's weird because some of the things that draw my attention are so much harder. It's just I've never really had that dive in passion. And if something doesn't hold my interest, I don't know. Now, the second something gets my interest, I dive in head first and I try to learn every little detail and nuance about it. And so I really pick it apart. So the intuitive side of art, I can do that and I can do it well, which usually upset my art teacher because they would start you in intuitive and abstracts and they think, hey, look, we got a prodigy. And then we get to the realism and they're like, okay, he can't draw a straight line, never mind. So but no, it's all about what gets my interest. That's the reason, like bushcraft camping, I love it. As much as it can be tedious chore to learn those different skills, self-sufficiency and just being out in the woods is something I enjoy, and I can happily throw myself into that. Same, I know people who don't understand why I enjoy grilling and smoking, because they're like, it takes too long. It's like, there's an art to it. Lauren, there's a few people who's asked me to do an occasional video on those. I'm not sure I can add anything that someone else hasn't already done. So, but there are certain things I am considering doing, because I am wanting to do some videos. Like next time I actually go out on my isolation camp out thing, I'm actually looking to take the GoPro with me and kind of take you all along, give you a kind of insight on what I do. But part of that is for these kind of getting out there, sitting out, going camping type things. There's a lot of magicians who they don't have the basic skills to require just to get out there and spend a night. So I would like to cover some of those. ideals on how you might set a camp up to do your basic um, vision quest, ritual works, those kinds of things, and how you can work that into a camp out. It's kind of a slightly over half formed ideal at this point. And Lauren, you kind of hit me with my own viewpoint there, didn't you? Because you're right, my techniques and methods and presentation would be different. Just like me saying I read compendiums. Look at that. She done went and hit me with my own reasoning, people. Oh, no. I have bumped into a few people in town who have seen my channel. So, I mean, it's just it just seems I'm still not used to people even recognizing me. So to think that one of my neighbors, like directly in the area where I live, might be a viewer and follow my channel, that would just that'd be a little weird for me still. I'm still coping with the fact that it's growing. Yeah, and see, Lauren, that's kind of what I'm looking at doing. Because not only do I want to bring the magical practice into a very practical modern view, and because so many people they overcomplicate it trying to get all these bells and whistles and the ritual circle and the got to get out in the woods. So bringing it into a practical, applicable practice is really something I'm wanting to do. But at the same time, there is a real genuine benefit to getting out in nature and enjoying it. Now, that benefit in some ways can be harnessed to some extent without going into nature. And that's a video that I'm going to be doing because um, I think that the ability, one of the most important things a magician or a practitioner needs to learn, other than mastery of self and self knowledge, is to be alone with themselves. You need to be able to just be alone with your own thoughts because that's really part of self knowledge and self mastery. And that's what most people don't like about when they're out in the woods alone because you're there. You have to listen to your thoughts. You have to confront them. And that's one reason that like sitting out style meditations, vision quests, they work so well is because they put you in touch not only with the energies of nature, but they put you in touch with a deeper version of you that you actually tend to tune out through most of your life. So I'm wanting to try and bridge both of those to the modern practitioner. So yeah, I mean, and maybe I'm biting off too big a piece of pie here with the channel, but I think I'm not going anywhere anytime. So I got plenty of time to attempt to do these things. TC, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. That's one of the reasons the Urban Magic series, I enjoy it so much. There are people who genuinely think you can't do magic in a city because there's not enough of nature or natural things around them. And I've challenged people, point to anything in a city that's not native to the earth. Like it or not, it came from the earth. The energy's still there. It might feel differently, it might resonate differently, but the urban magician still knows how to harness it. And when you understand this precept and this understanding, then you look at a city like New York and you realize how much massive amounts of arcane energy can be harnessed from it. And these are some of the, random thoughts that I have daily. It's like, how can I help people see this? How can I help these practitioners reach out and do this? And I'm wanting to try and get that out there. And you are right, Lauren. Which, if you all remember, once I realized how little dragon magic info you all seem to have, and you all were asking me for it, I tried to just crank out as much dragon magic information to fill that void for y'all as I could, and I enjoyed it. I really did. But at the same time, I was also filming the dragon magic class, and I really did get to a point. It's like I don't want to film another dragon video. And so having the ability to chaotically jump around topics and talk about what pops into my mind and share that with you all in a practical and usable way, it's a wonderful gift. Mathis, man, I appreciate it. And if I hit the 1K, oh my god, I don't know what I'll do. Well, for one, I can tell you if I do get any of those little YouTube award things, I'll be doing a video like, can y'all freaking believe they sent me this? Um, and that will be in the office. I will hang that up in the office because, yeah, I'm still processing being where I'm at. So I'm really thankful for your all support, and I'm really glad you believe in the channel. I really am. That means a lot to me. TC, you're absolutely right. In fact, we've done some kitchen magic videos, and I took them in directions other people have not. Like I did, like the magical properties of chicken and beef, and covered topics other people haven't. Um, got a lot of vegans and vegetarians upset with me over those videos, but that's okay. I'm not here to make everybody happy. You can't make everybody happy. So, and actually, I'm wanting to continue that series. That's another one of the series that I intend to pick up on is the kitchen magic videos. Welcome, Borno. This is good that you're off work. We're happy to have you. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Lauren, because I got the gift of gab, that's for sure. That's why during magical coffee hour, Linda's like, it's like hour. I thought that was just a suggestion. Ella, from are you watching this at work? Oh, dude, that is so cool. Ooh, Lauren, that sounds good. Snake guys. That's actually a good question because I'll be honest right now, outside of the Egyptian snake god, I'm having trouble thinking of one. So I honestly think more snake gods should get some more press, which is one reason like Temple of the Twin Flames and a lot of the um, Draconian Path style workings, I think is a good thing. See what you done, Serpent? Now that I can't think of anything, that's going to bug me on that, man. But that's good. That means I'll be thinking about it, and I'll probably think of a few to add to some lists and probably give them some more video time. I don't want to particularly speak for said dragon, but the dragons usually, when they mention it to me, they're talking about just the path of dragon magic itself, which is why I've been doing those courses so that more people can have access to it. So if you go to workingdragonmystic.com, there's a button there that says online courses or classes. It says one of the two. You click that, it'll take you to all the courses that I currently have live on the school. Dragon Magic 101 is one of them. So meditate, find out if that's what the dragon meant. If so, there's a great resource. And it is a solitary path. There's a bunch of us who practice it, but we don't really get together in groups or anything. We share information, we talk, but it's a solitary. Yes, Lauren, share the food pics. Thanks, Ross, man. It's one of my favorites. I call this my summer hat because that leather one is, well, it's just too heavy and warm for summer. This one's a crushable felt, so it's far more breathable. And yeah, Bornaldus is right there. I mean, the way the classes are laid out, it's a path working designed for you to find your unique path. No two dragon magic practitioners are the same. We are very unique in the path we walk. I'm not sure I'd consider Jormungandr a snake. I mean, technically he is. He's a really big freaking one. But he's actually an entity I want to do because he crosses so many lines, and I love him as an entity. And well, Quetzalcoatl, you totally right there too. So yeah, there are some Loa. I'll agree with that one. But for the sake of not starting flame wars, I tend to most of the time steer away from voodoo or talking about it in too much. Yeah. And you're right, you don't hear a lot about Quetzalcoatl, do you? Actually, it's hard to find a video on Jormungandr too. There is. There is. And I understand why. I respect the tradition, I respect the magic, and I respect the religion of it all. So it's just one of those topics, you know what I mean? And as we've noticed tonight, I have more than enough ideas without going down that road to offer you all up very functional information. So, on my deathbed, I'm probably going to be sitting there. I didn't get to do all the videos. But that's okay. At least I won't get bored. I do not like getting bored. I like staying busy. So it's all good. Which we're actually closing in on 1,600 subs for the channel. So that's pretty cool. All right, man, take it easy. Yeah, we got a storm coming in and we're over an hour, so I may go ahead and start wrapping it up before the storm makes it worse. You're just going to put me in a jar. I love it. I love it. That is awesome. You know, most people might be offended by that statement, but I am totally okay with it. I really am. Well, that's actually a good idea to do, Serpent. I mean, you know, yeah, there's plenty of info out there, not enough people to share it. Now, Bernard, now you're talking. Give me a nice jar of meat, stick my brain in there, put my hat on it, you know. Yeah, we can do this. So, yeah, we can do that. All right. So, any final questions? Because we are going to wrap up and hop off here before the storm hits. So, anybody got any last minute questions? And while you do that, I'll tell you what's going on and coming up. So, you all know that kind of stiffs. So, for those who've been asking and wondering, the video on the Draconic Ruler of Air, Zephyr Seal, that will be coming out, should be next week. So that'll be nice. Everybody will finally have that. And we are already in filming for the Dragon Magic 102 course. So that's actually shaping up very nicely and coming along well. It's actually nice because I'm getting the hang of doing YouTube plus the class filming. The Discord's growing. We do have new merchandise over at the merch store. Again, workingdragonmystic.com. You'll see the tab there. We have artwork, coffee cups, beach towels that can function as altar cloths. And we're looking to add more stuff, but yeah, all that stuff's up there. Let's see. Seems like there was something else I wanted to make sure to tell y'all. Oh, yeah. And in September, I'm supposed to be presenting 2 different little speaking engagements at the Ohio Pagan Pride. It's going to be a streamed event, so they're going to stream me in. And as soon as I find out what the link is and how you all can watch, if that's a thing. I'll make sure y'all know that as well. They're wanting me to speak on dragon magic and the science of magic. So should be a very interesting little opportunity. And of course, don't forget, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe. Drop us some comments and likes. That actually does help the channel with the algorithm. And join us Sunday for Magical Coffee Hour. See what the Linda has to throw at me this week. So far, she hasn't even given me a hint. Mystic Shade, what do you mean by controlling your dragon eye? You mean your third eye? I mean, as long as it's within YouTube's criteria of allowed content, I'd be willing to do just about anything. Thank you, Rust. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We do have more Fae videos coming. Oh, okay, Mystic Shade. Okay, yeah, now I get you. I see where you're at. Yeah, I can actually do a video on that because that falls into that category of self mastery with the, just being a magician in general and being in check of oneself and knowing oneself. For the immediate, though, examine things in a way that it's like, what can I do right now? What am I worrying about that I can do nothing about? And put your focus on things that you can affect at this moment. So when it comes to the chaotic state of things, start sizing down to the immediate. So look at yourself, look at your house, look at your family, focus on it first. Once you get that in order, set up, functioning how you want, move out, neighborhood, community, and let it spread that way. And lead by example also. So that's really what they're talking about there, is because the more we master ourselves and our energy and how we control and manifest things in our life, that actually spreads out across the larger picture, even with us not even attempting to direct it. And it makes a huge impact. So yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people's like, that's a selfish method, but it's not, because by affecting you, since everything is connected energetically, it's easier to affect the smaller thing than the larger. So through self-mastery and working on oneself, you're actually helping on the larger scale as well. So work on that would be my suggestion. And try not to get overwhelmed with the outside that you can't directly affect, because it can get overwhelming. It really can. I am fully aware of that. But I will actually try to do a video on that. That's actually a really, really good topic to do. So I will make sure to put that on the list of videos to start outlining as soon as we finish here. So, and another thing, Mystic, and this is really a hard one, and I ain't got time to fully explain it, but selfish can be a good thing in the right areas and for the right reasons. So we got to be a little careful in those areas sometimes. But like I said, it's something I'll have to do a video on at some point. And actually, thank you for bringing it up. That means I should probably get it on the list sooner rather than later, and I'll be sure to do that. Yeah, and honestly, seriously, if you waste time worrying about the things you can't do anything about, you'll be up all night worried about nothing. Whereas if you focus on the things that you can do something about, you go to bed at night knowing you made a difference, and you will sleep so much better. And take it from me, I used to be the perpetual worrier. I worried for everything and everyone in my life, and it cost me. I had bad insomnia. I would stay awake 4 or 5 days at a time because of it. Not a healthy state to be. If anyone wants to take a wild guess how my weight got out of control, go ahead and take a wild guess on that one. But once you learn, and the dragons are the one who taught me this, once you learn to focus on the things you can change immediately, even if it's something as silly as doing the dishes. I remember the first time they told me, just go to do the dishes, you'll feel better. I laughed at them because first off, I hate doing dishes. And it just seems so irrelevant. But doggone it if they weren't right. So, but yeah, with that, we'll go ahead and close. TC, you get back to work, man. It was great to see you. Serpent, thank you for joining us. Everyone, this has been a blast. You've had some great questions. You asked me some deep questions tonight. Deep. We went deep, which is good. It's always good to do that. And hopefully I'll see y'all Sunday. And if you haven't already, jump into the Discord. There's usually a link below these once they process and go up. You can pop into Discord, join us there. We always got a conversation of some kind happening or asking random questions. It's always fun. And I'm in there on a regular basis too. So everyone, you have a wonderful night. And I will talk to you later. Take care.